and keeping things in for us is very challenging. It takes a toll. It's keeping all of that bottled up, and can contribute to explosive moments. That's why it's so important to have these intentional ways of access. Hello, and welcome to Spirit in Mind, where we discuss affairs with faith and mental health perspectives. I'm Bishop Guy Robinson, and it is really a blessing to be with you today, and also a blessing to have our colleague and co-host, Dr. Jonathan Shepard, with us today as well. Hello, Dr. Shepard.
Yes, hello, Bishop, and hello to our viewing audience. It's good to be back again, another episode of Spirit in Mind, engaged with our audience. And so, good day to everyone.
Indeed, indeed. And again, as always, we're just grateful for you joining in with us. And if you've been with us and been sticking with us, thank you. We look forward to your continued support. Please share it with someone that you know, and please feel free to reach out to us. Again, we love the engagement, the dialogue, the observations, the critique. It all helps to make us better because we are really, truly better together. And so we want to be effective. And so we thank you for staying in touch. Dr. Shepard will share a few ways that we can stay in touch.
Absolutely. And so, continue to stay in touch with us. We do check our email page, or email address, I should say, spiritinmindhealth@gmail.com, spiritinmindhealth, all one word, @gmail.com. Continue to subscribe to our YouTube pages. You can go to Spirit in Mind Live for a YouTube page, or you can go to our individual pages. These particular episodes are seen there. Jonathan Shepard or Bishop C. Guy Robinson. I would love to continue to engage with you all. Love how we continue to see the episodes that are being downloaded on the various platforms, and very encouraged by the continual momentum of those downloads. And then you can hit us up on our personal pages if you're interested in having us come and speak. And if we do it in tandem or individually, you can please reach out to us, and our teams will be glad to see how we can make that happen. And Bishop C. Guy Robinson is a pastor, wonderful pastor here in the city of Baltimore. You can go check him out each week, 2100 West Baltimore, in the city of Baltimore. And so, yes. So there's so many different ways you can stay connected. There's no reason to be disconnected. So stay connected, and we'll definitely do you some good.
Absolutely. And so if you're joining us now, we are streaming right now in the middle of men's health month, really. And because it's a Spirit in Mind, we've been focusing on men's mental health aspect of it and spiritual health as well. And so we've been in a series of talking about what that looks like, what the challenges are, what some solutions are, what some evidence-based research is showing, and what the disciplines of Christian faith give us insight on, or revelation on, as well. So we've been looking at biblical characters and looking at what we can do to take care of our health as men. And so we've been talking about the different manifestations of mental health concerns, and we've been talking about depression and anxiety. And we're going to continue that in today's streaming episode. And so Dr. Shepard will give us some groundwork, and we'll see where this journey takes us today.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, and everyone again for staying with this series. We've been talking about depression and anxiety in men, and just been really wanting to reach out to our men, letting them know it's okay to talk about these issues. We know that these issues exist, and what we are providing is just another platform to allow people to have the ability to talk, to be transparent, to be vulnerable. So you can share in the comments how much you want to share. And also, we encourage you to be directed to a mental health professional or to a trusted individual who can provide the guidance and the direction so you don't have to suffer in silence. It's just been so interesting, Bishop, even from the last time that we recorded, when we look at some of the stats in the state of Maryland alone. I'm sharing with you in our preparation that we have noticed that the rate of suicide in the state of Maryland continues to increase, where we've seen a plateau or even a decline nationally. In the state of Maryland, we are still seeing increases. And I can attest to that. I've been hearing some stories of persons who um, have succumbed to depression or anxiety. Because and I use that word succumb intentionally because we never know what people are battling in their minds. We just don't know what people are battling in their minds and how they come to make those decisions. And one of the things that I'm very careful to do, and I appreciate Bishop's openness to this, is judging people when they're going through their mental health episodes. We are not judging anyone here. Mental health is a real mental health disorders, I should say, is a real disease. It is a real disease. I'll even say that again. Mental health disorders is a real disease. And when people are dealing with the disease of depression, the disease of anxiety, and the other things that may come along with that, we have to be careful not to just tell people to snap out of it or what's wrong with you. You shouldn't feel this way. And that really can be hurtful for men when it's already a time where it's difficult to share. We know where men are tend to have a difficulty with going to the doctor or going to seek help or just asking for help. And we want to make sure that even in this, we provide a platform where people feel comfortable with doing that. So let me get back to my statement about the suicide rates. We don't have any credible evidence as to why, but Bishop, I'd be curious as as we can ponder a little bit about what some of those things may be. I know the cost of living in Maryland is high.
Mhm.
The cost of living is very high in Maryland, and people are struggling. Affordability is a true issue, as we have seen throughout the nation. But and living here in the state of Maryland, and I go between Maryland and District of Columbia, and those are places where it's difficult for people to raise their families, difficult to be able to find affordability in housing and meet needs. And when that complicates uh, what's happening with a person who has anxiety, depression, they tend to feel like there's no way out. They tend to feel like it's a ball of distress that has accumulated. Those are just some of my things that I've been thinking about, Bishop. Well, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. And as Dr. Shepard said, we are exploring possibilities. We know that there is a definite um, concern here in terms of suicidality in Maryland, and in the country at large, but we're centered in Maryland, and so. But yet, we're aware that this broadcast reaches beyond the state of
Absolutely.
Maryland. Uh, um, but with that, there are factors that we can consider. And we're really talking about in this context social determinants of health,
Mhm.
and is there any correlation, not necessarily causation, but maybe. But definitely correlation. We do know that there is concerns about affordability, as Dr. Shepard said, and that includes even perhaps even mental health services and how health insurance and the affordability and accessibility of those benefits. And then on the because this is spirit in mind, data does show that there is a decrease in consistent participation in faith community, the individualization of spirituality, where somewhat of a almost reminiscent of that scripture in Judges, each man did what seemed right in his own eyes, and that extreme decentralization of spirituality can contribute to also the isolation, the social isolation, the not gathering. And all of these things can have a collective influence on hope, which is expectation and positive expectation. And so all of these things can certainly be explored in terms of what level they correlate or contribute to this concerning statistic. I'm reminded of something called chaos theory. Chaos theory kind of basically simply says that an undesirable outcome, an even tragic outcome, has usually several converging factors that contribute to it. So there's really a kind of like an order to chaos, paradoxically, that several contributing factors come together to create this undesirable outcome. And having said that, I do think there's something to be said into exploring the affordability issues in this case, to exploring involvement in faith community as a way of combating social isolation, being involved again with people, and things, accountability circles, and all these things that can help. And conversations like this, just talking about it, particularly in terms of men's health, all these things are worth further exploration to kind of hope that we can mitigate this undesirable statistic and outcome that we're dealing with.
Absolutely, and thank you, Bishop. And as we talk about anxiety, depression, I'm just going to do a real quick recap of what some of the symptoms of a person who's dealing with an anxiety disorder looks like. We talked about catastrophizing or catastrophic thinking. Why can I get that word out, Bishop? Ain't that something? I hate that when that happens. My tongue gets tired. I can't get those words out. Uh, Overthinking, negative assumptions, isolation, self protection, survival mode, um, avoidance, some physiological distress. These are things that we will see when a person is dealing with anxiety disorders. Catastrophic thinking. There we go. And we want to just say that those are some of the things that we see when a person is dealing with anxiety disorders. So those symptoms we dealt with in our previous episode. I want to take a little deep dive, if you would, in relation to anxiety, and it really coincides with one of the statements I made earlier, and that was about the fear of men seeking help. And I want to talk about this just for a quick minute here, Bishop, how anxiety or fear will build fortresses. It builds fortresses. So, and I've heard us talk about, I think I've even heard you allude to how we want to build fences and not fortresses. Fences is where they have a gate where you can have, or fences versus walls. I think that's actually the proper analogy, where the wall doesn't have an opening, but at least the fence has an opening, has a gate where you can get in and out. You can control what comes in and out. And anxiety disorder will cause you to build a wall, will cause you to build a fence, if you would. I'm sorry, build a fortress. And we know with fortresses, it keeps things out, it keeps things in. there's no release or exchange. And that can serve well for a moment in time, but it doesn't serve well overall, because at some point you need to be able to get something out that you keep holding in. And when that happens, typically it comes out in a way that most people don't like or can appreciate, or even an embarrassing way. And when you keep stuff um, um, in, or I should say, keeping stuff in, things will come out that way. Or if you keep stuff out, you're not able to experience what you need to experience inside of you. So just want to just talk about that, about how anxiety causes people to build those fortresses to keep things in and or keep things out, so there's not a good exchange. Yeah, Bishop, what would you like to add to that?
And keeping things in for us is very challenging. It takes a toll. It takes keeping all
Mhm,
of that bottled up, and can contribute to explosive moments.
mhm,
And so that's why it's so important to have these intentional ways of access and um, ingresses and regresses, so that people that you can get out what needs to get out, and take in what needs to be taken in. And so that's why having these gates, that open is so very important to our wellness. And so yeah, so anxiety in terms of um, building those things, and catastrophic thinking. And this is again where the ideas of hope and has the ability to reframe our thinking. And this is where faith systems have something to contribute to rethink our thinking. And both are actually future oriented in many ways. Faith is future oriented. Dr. King once said faith is taking the first step when you can't see the rest of the staircase. And so faith is sort of future oriented. Faith looks forward, actually, because faith and hope. And so that's future oriented, but it has more of a positive expectation for the future, as opposed to certain types of anxiety that is worried about the future and builds that fortress in anticipation of the catastrophic event that has become such a pervasive part of one's thinking. And so that's where, again, faith convictions really have something to contribute when we're dealing with debilitating or limiting, self limiting thoughts and anxiety.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Spirit in Mind, and we're also on Instagram at Spirit in Mind Live. Join us next time for a new episode of Spirit